What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Unbearable Podcast. And today, I'm giving you my 2025 NFL playoff predictions. And there's some shocks. I was expecting three NFC teams to make the playoffs, but I was not expecting a certain team, the number 5 seed. I was not expecting the Vikings to be this good. I'm gonna rewatch what I said about NFL, like my predictions for the NFL season, and also do a video where I react to my predictions on the Bears. Just give me some time. But yeah, that's just gonna. I'll do it after the Super Bowl because I think I also put my Super Bowl winner in there and the awards. But I'll do my Bears one at least by next week. Probably be sometime next week. And then the Broncos, I was not expecting them to be in here. The Steelers, I was not expecting to be in the playoffs, but hey, I'll put the bracket up right here, and then I'll do each team like normal weekly predictions. Oh, I need to show you what my my weekly predictions, like what I ended the season with. All right, so I'm on 170, 104. Yeah, so pretty good year. Not gonna compare it to last year's because I think I started like week 2 or something, and I had like a tie, and it was messed up. But let's get on to straight into the playoffs. I'm gonna start with the NFC. Packers, Eagles. Packers lost to the Bears. Their quarterback, Jordan Love. We'll see if he's gonna play, but I don't know if he's gonna be at like 100%. And then the Eagles just have looked very dominant ever since early in the season when there were some questions. But ever since then, they've looked very dominant. It's in Philadelphia, and I just don't see the Packers winning this game. I think they've performed good, but I don't think they're going to have the same thing happen last year where they shocked some people in the playoffs. I think, although it could be a close game, I do think the Eagles are going to dominantly win this game. Then Commanders, Buccaneers. The Commanders, another shock. I was not expecting the Commanders to be this good. They definitely have shown a lot of improvement. They've shown grit, determination. Like in these close games, they just find a way to pull it out, and that's what good teams do. They are a very young team and very inexperienced in the playoffs. And you have the exact opposite in the Buccaneers, who've made the playoffs 5 years in a row now. And I mean, they've been here before. This is what they do. They're meh in the regular season, and then in the playoffs, they're like, all right, it's go time. And that's why I'm picking the Buccaneers. It's in Tampa Bay. It's going to be nice weather, but I just think it's going to be a very close game. But I think the Buccaneers just have more experience. They know what to expect in the playoffs, and that's what's ultimately going to push them over the edge. Then we have the Vikings and the LA Rams. This is going to be I don't know. The Vikings they weren't able to capitalize last week offensively. They were in the red zone. They were able to drive. They just weren't able to finish drives. And you can't have that happen. But their defense has been looking very good. Brian Flores has really carried that team. And, I mean, I think that's what's going to be the determining factor. The Rams have a very good offense, but we saw in the slugfest against the Bills where it was like 44-46. Their offense can score. Their defense cannot stop offenses. And I think that's why the Vikings are going to win this game. Moving on to the AFC, we have the Broncos versus the Bills. Broncos made it in. There was really no doubt. They had to win one of their last 3 games or something. I thought they were going to blow it, but they blew out the Chiefs' backups. And, Bo Nix has looked very good. Their offense has looked very good. Their defense has looked very dominant. And overall, they've just looked like a very good team and a team that can maybe shock some people. I think if they were if they were facing the Texans, I think I'd give them I think they could upset them. Even not the Ravens, but the Bills, man. there was questions about coming into the season about their offense, about their defense. Are they going to be able to continue the dominance? I said they would. I said they would look. I don't know if they'd look as dominant, but I still had them winning the East. But I mean, they looked good this year. And in Buffalo, I know Colorado's cold, but they have not played in an environment like Buffalo, and it's. I think the Bills are just gonna lay the smackdown on the Broncos, and I think the Bills are gonna look very good. Then we have the Steelers and the Ravens. The Steelers have kind of fell off a cliff, like the last stretch of the season, and I mean, I don't know. I think their defense is going to be dominant as always, but what their offense has shown is just not looking good. I think it's going to be a low-scoring slugfest, but I think their offense is just, their offense is going to be what's going to determine this game. And then you have the Ravens, who, not that their defense is trash, but I'm more confident in their offense than I am in their defense. Their offense, explosive. Their running game is very dominant. Will their wide receivers be able to catch in the clutch moments? To be determined. But their defense, I think, they have a very good defense, but it's not as good as Pittsburgh's. But their offense is a lot better than Pittsburgh, and that's why I'm giving the Ravens the win here. Then we have the Chargers and the Texans. The Chargers, hard, run the ball, gritty team, tough defense, and Khalil Mack having double-digit sacks doesn't really get talked about. But their defense has been very dominant. Their offense has, had their ups and downs, but I think going into this game, their offense is gonna look good. They have Gus Edwards back. Their running game is gonna look good, and I think Ladd McConkey is definitely gonna. Well, we'll see if he steps up. And then the Texans, they won their division, but that's really not saying much. And I mean, the Texans, I don't know. There was a lot of hype going for the Texans going into this year. Everyone kind of knew they were winning their division because, I mean, we thought maybe the Jaguars could challenge it, but, I mean, no one really thought they were going to lose this division, but they have not performed up to expectations, and I'm taking the Chargers. Then going into the divisional round, starting in the NFC, we have the Vikings versus the Detroit Lions. We kind of just saw this matchup. I do think that it's going to be different. I think it's going to be a more competitive game. But like I said, the Vikings, I just don't know if they're going to be able to get it done. Their defense is good, but is their offense going to be able to perform when needed? I don't know. That's going to be the big question, and I think we've seen the Lions just been able to crush teams, and I think it's going to come. I think they can just outscore the Vikings. Their defense obviously very, very banged up. This bye week is definitely needed, and I think they're just going to be able to outscore the Vikings. That's if their defense doesn't show up. But I have the Lions. Then we have the Buccaneers versus the Eagles. Seems like we see this matchup almost every year. This one's in Philadelphia with the number 2 seed Philadelphia Eagles and the number 3 seed Buccaneers. The Buccaneers, their offense, I mean, they're not. Let me put it this way. The Buccaneers are not world beaters, but they are a very solid team. The Eagles are just the better team, and that's why I'm picking the Eagles. I think the Eagles are just going to be able to have their offense just dominate the Bucs, and I think their defense is going to shock some people and stop the Buccaneers' passing attack. They do have Bucky Irving, but I think they're going to rely heavily on Baker Mayfield, and it's just not going to be enough against a stacked Eagles team. Then moving on to the AFC, we have the Chargers versus the Chiefs. They've had very close matchups in this year. The Chargers a doink away from winning one of them. Like I said, they have a dominant defense and a run it down your throat offense. And the Chiefs, they are 15-2, but have looked definitely beatable. They've shown that they can be beaten. It's not like they're coming into this year like 15-2, like nobody can stop this team. It's like, all right, this team, how much luckier can they get? I do think the Chiefs are gonna win this game in Arrowhead, but I think it's definitely gonna show some holes like they have at the end of the season, and everyone's gonna be like, hey, whoever wins the other matchup is probably gonna win the AFC. Then Ravens, Bills in Buffalo. This is going to be a slugfest. It could go either way. It's going to be this is basically for the MVP. Pretty much. Probably not. But this is going to be two dominant teams just going at it, and it's going to be like 50s, both teams like upper 40s, maybe in the 50s. It's going to be blow after blow after blow. But I have Buffalo getting it done in Buffalo. I'm really high on the Buffalo Bills. I really think they're going to make a deep run this year, and I have them going to the conference championship. Then we have the Philadelphia Eagles and the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Let me set the stage. Not set the stage, but let me tell you what I think is going to be the downfall of the team that's going to lose. Both teams, we have seen that they can have offense. I think the downfall for the Detroit Lions is going to be their defensive injuries. If both teams were fully healthy, all their playmakers, Detroit wins. The simple fact is they have too many holes on their not too many holes, but too many injuries on their defense to stop what I think is going to be a juggernaut in the Eagles. I think it's going to be a very close game, but I just don't think the Lions will get it done, and I do have them falling in the NFC Championship game, and I think the Eagles are going to move on to the Super Bowl. Then moving on to the AFC side, the Bills going into Arrowhead, and I think we see what happened in the regular season, and the Bills beat the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs their luck runs out against the Bills, and the Bills pretty much, it's not going to be a close game. I think the Bills are going to win handily, and let me take that back. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think the Bills are everyone's going to be like, all right, yeah, the Bills are in control of this game. The score is going to be close, but the game's not. If that makes any sense. I have the Bills going to the Super Bowl, and I have both number 2 seeds, the Buffalo Bills and the Philadelphia Eagles, meeting in the Super Bowl. And I do think it is finally time for the Bills to win a Super Bowl. I have the Bills beating the Eagles to be Super Bowl champions for the first time in their history, erasing the 0-4 record in the Super Bowl. Maybe they have more losses, but that 0-4 stretch where they lost 4 in a row, that one's for you, Sam. And, I've always liked the Bills. They've reminded me of the Bears. They've kind of sucked. They rebuilt. They're kind of like the Bears on the east side with the cold. It doesn't get as cold in Chicago, but it gets pretty cold. And I don't know. I've always had not a soft spot, but, I've always had hey, I like the Bills. I do have the Bills winning, and, I'm excited for the Bills. I want them to win. And knowing that, it's probably not going to happen. I don't know. It's probably going to be a crazy playoff. But after the Super Bowl, I'll react. I don't know if I'll react to this one. But I'll definitely react to my preseason predictions. And probably this one too. I'll probably be wanting some content. So maybe I'll do this one too. But that's it for my NFL predictions. And I will see you guys next time. And until next time, don't forget to bear down.